there's that. All right, so we are gonna do bath salts tonight. Super easy. It's just 2 ingredients and your essential oils. So you have your baking soda, and I usually get a bigger container so it's easier. I'm trying to think, I got this out of the laundry detergent area. They have it over where with the naphtha soap that you can make your own laundry detergent and stuff. So I get a bigger bag. Usually I find like a 5-pound bag, but didn't find that this time. And then just regular Epsom salt with no scent. And then your essential oil of choice. So tonight I'm going to do wild orange, peppermint, and whisper, because those are a favorite combination for me for bath salts. And then you find a bottle that you want it to go into. So this is one of them that I do. This is another one. And of course it's already made, this one is, but just something that's pretty and it's an easy gift and it pours nice. So you're just trying to find something like that. You can take an old wine bottle and flip the cork on it, clean it up good, and that works as well. You're gonna need a measuring cup, a mixing bowl, and a funnel so that you can actually get it into your bottle or your container. So it's just 1 cup of baking soda. See if I can do this without making a total mess. I'll just put it in the bowl. See, those things like to come out really fast. So just 1 cup of baking soda. And then 1 cup of Epsom salt. So it's 1 for 1 on that. Super easy. If you're making a big batch, you know, just do it accordingly. There's this. So 1 cup Epsom salt. And then I mix those together really good with fork. And that baking soda was compacted. That's kind of interesting. But I mix them really good before I do the oil so that everything is good. But you can do pretty much any oil that you would like. If you're wanting a soothing, relaxing bath, which usually that's why we do it, you can use like Serenity, the Whisper, Vetiver is another really good oil in the bath. If you're wanting one for somebody who isn't feeling that great, you can go ahead and use eucalyptus and breathe, things that are going to open up some airways for them. That would be a great way to do a bath salt. So you mix those, and it doesn't ever look like it is any different than baking soda, but you can feel it in there, and I don't know if you can see that really well or not, but that's how that is. And then I drop about, let me see, this is just 1, so it's 5 drops of each of them, and I put it throughout the bowl. Just mix it along throughout the bowl. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Whoops, that was 6, it dropped. And then the same with the wild orange, and you'll see little balls form in your bath salt. And you'll be able to see it more with the wild orange, and I'll show it to you. And then Whisper. So 5 of Whisper. Whisper is slower. It just happens. But you can choose any oil that you want in there. Balance is a good one as well. The wild orange and peppermint is nice because it has such a clear, crisp smell. So I'm going to show you this bowl and see if you guys can see the little dots in there at all. Can you see those? Okay, so the object then is to mix those little dots. Just stir it, and you're going to just mix those so they're going into the Epsom salt and the baking soda. And you mix that all really good. Mix it together. Make sure that the lumps are all gone. The oil lumps are gone. Mixed up really good. And then you're done. It's that easy. It's that easy to do Epsom salt, or the bath salts. And you put it into your containers, which doesn't take much at all. So handy dandy funnel, works great. And then I just used my measuring cup. This part is a little bit trickier because it doesn't like to do that very well. It doesn't like to pour through, but just shake it through. You guys see that? And it's filling. It makes it super easy. And you can put ribbons on them or whatever, or you can actually just enjoy them yourself. I will say that as you're doing this, so watch how full it looks right now, and you're going to tap it. It brings it down. It'll compact a little bit. So just make sure you're doing that so that when you get to where you're giving the gift, it doesn't look like you've shorted them on the bath salt. And that is how simple bath salts are. Did my screen freeze up a little bit?
Just a teeny.
Okay, so you got most of it. I'm making lots of noise.
Yep.
I'm just shaking it down all the way. Put the lid on, put a ribbon on, and you have a super easy gift. So I look at secondhand stores for bottles, but you don't have to do that. The dollar store has some really cute bottles as well. I have one. Oh, just a second. I actually have one. So this is what I used last year. It's got cute designs, and it's from the dollar store. And of course, it's a lot bigger, but same thing. It'll probably take 2 cups of each for that one, maybe more. And I still have quite a bit left of the bath salt. But it is really easy and it's enjoyable. I haven't gotten any complaints from any of them that I've given out. So easy peasy. We do sugar scrubs a lot too, and I can do a video on sugar scrubs at a different time, but those are awesome. It's just, I do coffee sugar scrubs a lot now. It's just really invigorating for the skin. The coffee grounds are. So instead of doing all brown sugar, you're just going to do half brown sugar, half coffee. And then you can do your oil of the oils that you choose, like olive oil, coconut oil, almond oil, grapeseed oil, any of those. And you're going to mix those up with some of your essential oils. And the way to determine how much of the brown sugar and coffee that you're going to use is take the container that you want to use and you pack that half and half with your coffee and your brown sugar and put it into a bowl, and then add your oil of choice, like your almond oil or coconut oil, olive oil, and I combine those, and then I moisten that coffee and brown sugar until it's the right consistency, and then it goes right back into that container without, there's no excess. So that one's really easy as well, but we will do that another time. But I wanted to talk about frankincense, and Russ is going to join me for this part. He's like, I'll let you make the bath salts because, you know, it's like, I can't really help you with the bath salt part of it. But we talk about frankincense being the king of oils, and I'm going to move the computer just a little bit because then,
You want me to sit here?
yes, that'll work. Sorry. There. always smelling the bath salt. He's got to make sure it smelled good.
Did you put any frankincense in there?
I didn't, but frankincense is a great option for your bath salt as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about the chemistry behind of frankincense. There he is. I like his toque.
My wife made it.
So tell us a little bit more about frankincense.
I have a lot to say about frankincense. The chemistry is kind of the boring part.
Aw, actually, I had him do the research because then he breaks it down and I can understand it a little bit better. And what he was telling me is really fascinating.
Well, I think that frankincense is kind of the multi-tool of essential oils. You know that it has so many uses. Pretty much anything that you can think of like lavender, for instance. Oh, it helps you relax. Well, so does frankincense. Or, you know, rosemary is really good for mental acuity. Yeah, so is frankincense. Or deep blue is really good for joint health. So is frankincense. You know, it's just, that's why kind of why they call it the king of oils. It's good for everything. But as far as the chemical part of it, I'm going to have to say some things that aren't entirely accurate just because that's the way I understand it. But what Karina found interesting was like, okay, you're at home, so obviously your car is sitting out in the driveway and it's not doing anything until you put the key in the ignition and start it.
So it's starting the engine.
So that's kind of the way to think about your cells in your body. And I have a pretty lengthy description and involved in about cellular functions. But basically, your cell is sitting there in your body with a whole bunch of engines, and they're not doing anything until the key comes along to turn the engine on. And there's a list, of course, of many functions of examples of what cellular functions are, like food has to be broken down and energy has to be produced and amino acids have to be produced, carbohydrates, hormones, lipids, steroids, nucleotides, vitamins, minerals all have to be produced, altered, or metabolized. And so really none of those cellular functions occur. All of those engines are sitting there doing nothing until the key comes along to turn that engine on. And so different proteins, there's 90,000 different proteins in the body, and each one of them have a specific function. And so that, like hormones, for instance, that's a type of a protein. That protein comes along to that little engine in the cell to turn that on so that cellular function will operate. Well, you can think of frankincense and some other essential oils that they say they're good for helping cellular function. Well, what in the world does that mean? Basically, in my word picture that's probably not entirely accurate, frankincense is a skeleton key. It
fits all the locks.
It can come along and turn on any of those engines to increase your cellular health.
It fits all the ignitions. I shouldn't say the locks. It fits the ignitions.
So yeah, and your body recognizes essential oils like frankincense because the chemical makeup is so similar to the proteins that come along to turn those engines on. So yeah, I don't know. That's the way I look at it. It's a skeleton key. It can come along and turn the engines on.
So it's part of the messenger system. So our proteins are the messengers for the cell, and the frankincense is a messenger. So it's going in and talking to the cell and going, okay, do you guys remember this is what you're supposed to do? And it's just a really great reminder. So when we say it's the king of oils, it truly is, because it can talk to each of our cells. And it can motivate and turn that ignition switch. I like that analogy. It works for me.
It's probably a little too simple if anybody out there's a biochemist, but that's the way I think of it anyways. So when we say that frankincense is good for cellular support, what we're saying is frankincense can activate various biochemical pathways, stimulating the production of beneficial proteins or suppressing the overproduction of others.
So we talk about having a proper inflammatory response, because we know that inflammation in our body in the proper amount is actually very beneficial. But when there's an overstimulation, or that key is turned, but it keeps cranking.
Yeah,
and
can't shut it off.
Can't
Yeah.
shut it off. That's too much. And then you cause damage to the surrounding stuff.
It takes a separate protein to shut that off. Frankincense can do that too.
Yeah. So it can go in there and help to balance those responses that are in there. So when we talk about frankincense helping with a proper inflammatory response, it's going in there and making sure that there's a very clear message that it produces the right amount of something. So we talk about inflammation because we've done a lot of research on proper inflammatory response, and that's very much what it does for all of our systems. 90,000
different proteins. I was also thinking, we could go this direction on a personal note. I wrecked my motorcycle earlier this year, and Karina was there. And right after I asked her to call an ambulance, I needed an ambulance pretty bad. The next thing I did was what?
He asked for frankincense.
Asked for frankincense.
He was stressing a little bit.
So, but besides how good it is for instance, the injury, it grounds you, it stabilizes your emotions, it reduces your anxiety level. I never did go into shock or anything. I just kept bathing in frankincense.
So let's go back to that though. We know that emotions cause a different chemical reaction within our body.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously a protein messenger has gone in there and it's
turned that engine
on full crank.
Frankincense can
and
shut
so
it down.
Frankincense comes in as a protein, like a protein messenger,
yeah.
And it says, wait a minute, we don't need that much.
Yeah.
Let's tone this down.
Yeah.
And it helps to
stabilizes your chemistry.
Yeah, it
really,
helps to bring the chemistry back into balance. And that is what we're working towards, is having a really good balance in our system, so that our system is working fluidly and the best that it can, so that we have really good overall health and wellness. Because we talk about wellness isn't just physical, it's emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical.
Yeah.
And when you have that balanced, then you have a much better well-being.
And we're talking about frankincense because
frankincense is free this month.
It's frankincense month.
We love frankincense as the gift because it was given as a gift.
Yeah.
It is very valuable. It always has been. When they raided the tombs or the pyramids, they would go in and take the frankincense before they took any of the gold.
In ancient history, it was way more valuable than gold. I read an interesting archaeological fact, I guess. What was it? Let's see here. Frankincense was the world's first export. That's what I was trying to say. Archaeologists have proven that before any other product was exported, of course, eventually silk and different kinds of wood and stone and iron and frankincense was the first export in the world. So that you were talking about 3000 BC, maybe even earlier than that, the world's first export.
It had multiple uses.
Yeah.
It was fit for a king. The kings were actually anointed with it as they were born. So it is the oil of royalty. And we actually get to have it. And I'm pretty excited about that. So the 200 PV promo, and they have done it every Christmas that I've
Every
been part
December,
of,
yeah.
that I've been part of doTERRA, and we look forward to free frankincense. I have it, I order it through the year
Yeah.
as well, but it's definitely worth
You
having.
keep a good supply. Just so you run out of something, well, frankincense can do that too, you know.
Yes, yeah. When you don't have one of the other oils that you normally go to, use frankincense.
Yeah. Okay, so is that it then?
You're all done with, huh?
Yeah, all done.
He's got pages of notes, and I'm like, okay,
Maybe
fine.
another time, maybe. Okay, good to see you all.
So we do really appreciate what frankincense is used for. Even I use lavender in the kitchen in case I touch something hot, but frankincense also works in the kitchen. And it's great for your skin. It goes into my daily moisturizer along with blue tansy and yarrow palm. So frankincense is very rejuvenating at a cellular level for your skin. So you've got your collagen underneath. Well, frankincense works with that and helps that to be more balanced. So just some really key notes about frankincense. We always say that it works, but how does it work? And so chemically, it's a really great messenger, and it works with the body because it's lipid and we're lipid, and it says, hey, I know you're a friend, let's work. So we really appreciate the gift of frankincense, and it has well earned its name as King of Oils. So do you guys have questions? Okay, you should be unmuted.
Okay. How is it harvested?
So it is a tree, and they tap the tree like you do for maple trees, and they do a proper cut, and then it creates a teardrop. And so it's a sap, and then they harvest those teardrops. The resin. And then they put it through the low pressure, low heat so that it's steam distilled. And it comes from Somaliland.
Oh, really?
So there is a frankincense trail from Somali to Oman. Is that correct, Russ?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so there's 4 different types all mixed together for us. And they're the teardrops. Okay. They are very good.
There's no test after this, is there?
No, because I would have to remember all of it for there to be a test. I have the notes.
I'm writing notes.
There you go. Yeah. So
I keep trying to educate other people too. So
it's nice. And like I said, we do say frankincense is the king of oils. It's extremely potent. So 1 drop in a 10 ml of like a roller bottle with coconut oil is as effective as just a drop. It's that potent. Okay. So for kids, 1 drop in a 10 ml is very sufficient. So people say, so how comes we need it so strong? Well, my niece uses it for proper firing in the brain, neurological firing in the brain, and the balancing of that. And she takes 12 drops at a time.
Oh, wow.
And that's what she needs. She needs that strength. So those things are important. But I'm going to turn the recording off, and then we can visit too. Does that work?